Okay, so thank you, Geshe, for being here, and everyone. So we're going to continue with Geshe's talk on the four or the 8 mind trainings, the 8 verses of mind training, the Lojong. I'm going to recite the translation of the 8 verses, just so that everybody can kind of get their minds on track for what it is that we're doing, and so you can follow along. I put a link in the chat if it's still there for you. If you wanted to go to the Lotsawa House website and get this translation, it's very, very short and concise, so it's quite good. So I thought that this would be a good way to start this evening. So we start with the 8 verses of Training the Mind by Geshe Lharampa Jampa. Number 1, by thinking of all sentient beings as more precious than a wish-fulfilling jewel, for accomplishing the highest aim, I will always hold them dear. Number 2, whenever I'm in the company of others, I will regard myself as the lowest among all, and from the depths of my heart, cherish others as supreme. Verse number 3, in my every action, I will watch my mind, and the moment destructive emotion arises, I will confront them strongly and avert them, since they will both hurt me and others. Verse number 4, whenever I see ill-natured beings or those overwhelmed by heavy misdeeds or suffering, I will cherish them as something rare, as though I'd found a priceless treasure. Verse number 5, whenever someone out of envy does me wrong by attacking or belittling me, I will take defeat upon myself and give the victory to others. Verse number 6, even when someone I have helped or in whom I have placed great hopes mistreats me very unjustly, I will view that person as a true spiritual teacher. Number 7, in brief, directly or indirectly, I will offer help and happiness to all my mothers, and secretly take upon myself all their hurt and suffering. In verse number 8, I will learn to keep all these practices untainted by thoughts of the 8 worldly concerns. May I recognize all things as like illusions, and without attachment gain freedom from bondage. Thank you very much. And Geshe La, please, there we are. There we are. Geshe La. So we look forward to your talk. Thank you.
Wow. Wow.
Can you hear me, Geshe? Geshe, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, very good. Okay. So whenever you're ready.
Yeah. But our connection is little problem.
Yeah, it seems a little slow.
Sorry. Yeah. Yeah, it is okay.
Yes, it seems okay now. Yes.
ngazo chodo tsama tenen hayan zongba都是娘书节就中国的长满家话的百慕西哈张高不穷死，我就确实。
Thank you for everyone being here, dear Dhamma brothers and sisters.
안내 간서 단단히만 문투네 단다 자위츠 나바티 간 마지 로인스라 안내 간서 개체쉐데 데나라 도도 님보딩에 봐도 렌토와 제고군도라 자위츠 기바당 나바데서 파르디야마 소소 셈나로 레드 투와 난고도스 레반다 레바데 조투와 제고도스 강도와.
And now let us start with the verse 5. Is our internet still lagging? Right.
Yeah, it keeps bouncing back and forth between full bandwidth and limited bandwidth, but right now it's okay.
Yeah. Now is it
Yes,
a little better?
we can hear you well. I think we can hear you well.
아,
Gulum ding.
Just 1 minute, please.
We will sort out this problem.
Okay, very good.
Sorry. 그러면서죠.
되게
그렇죠. 이제 마변을 지하도 왜. 네. 야, 또 마변해. 정말 정말 차이다.
we
Lance,
will
you're
change
muted,
our
Lance.
Yes. Geshe, are you ready?
That's the much.
Yeah, we will go to the living room because the main connection stable, like it's better over that side. So we
Okay.
will go to the living room and we will
Alright.
continue from there.
All right. Okay, very good. Thank you.
Is it better now, by the way? Right?
It seems to be, yes. It seems
Yeah, we
much
hope
more
it stays
stable
like-
now. Are you on Wi-Fi
it's
or is it
better-
Ethernet? Are you on Wi-Fi?
Yeah, it's Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Okay, we think it's good here.
Okay, very good.
It's better continuing here. All right, sorry. And then, well, Gishi was saying that now today we will begin with the verse 5, but then each verses is connected with one another. So last time we discussed the first 4, and then this time the later 4. All right.
아다 이 가마 대다 지금 예빠 대다 나빠니 대초 나랑 손 렌지 드부디 갈 제부도 선어와 지금 예빠 나노라와 예빠 나노라 센제 강의 영에 dumege 나딩에 된된다 오지 투바이나 소소게 림보체게 땡체바나게 또 솔로 강투 지투 그 안에 또 솔로 로파 제교서 로파 땡데 제고 고고데서 뉴뉴레스 고고데네 라야 내라고 말했어 다티 고고데 간다 소소 소사나 사야다 겐 로파 자야다 소소 마음비 데지도 땡데게 체도는 데 니 까보레레 데 진지 제네 로파 호다바다 제교는 제네 손여와스 다티 손 차디 텔라 덴데게 레가 텔라 메겐다 차도 레고레스 Tende yinba sonza nga pati tani ngen tewa digi yos.
All right. In order to link the verse 4 and verse 5, in the verse 4, it says like when we meet someone who needs help or care or anything, those with sufferings, we should always help them, thinking that it is a very rare or like a precious opportunity being provided to us by helping them and then doing everything like we could. With this as the verse 4, then with verse 5, it comes the jealousy part and then those others treating you part. This is how the verse 4 and 5 is linked.
Ta gongge tsiga yipa nalo songde ke yenla pento je ke shawa zambo ta suso ke ganda shawa zambo gande ji druba yinayam. Ta dala ane kabre yen ke chado lego res. Kabre yen ke chale lego res. Kabre yen ke kang su ne shawa zambo druya te solo chön jeng ke ta pache nanso ji lengo res. Kabre ngarang so khatu rampe ne jeng de le yungo res. Tende yinba songzang, ane chado la sopa tang, ane yengi te chik ngui shu ju song soso la chik shawa yapo dhugu mundu se ne tende cheyanda wana wata, chik shawa la pache, soso ke shawa yapo tenso la pache tang yung me tende chungba yina, ane tende kaso la tele yinji me chi pa lente go ma res, ngarang so me papa yina chi karase kruwa. Kunroda tendeki yamam rochine pa langsa lente de chuyorwas tendeki chung lente de gomare suso ke shawa yapu du yimbe kasola tela pache tongne ta tela chim reg mare seanda wata tende cheding le sona negar tigle per suso ke chung de len khos negatil kol kesan de parte khos ina suso shawa de muntun du de khos in zonda ji songo res sidik.
Well, now the verse 5, it says, whenever like someone out of jealousy does me wrong by attacking or belittling me, I will take the defeat upon myself. This means, for example, on the verse 4, we were doing our best in order to help others, thinking that it is a very precious opportunity being given to us. And then now, whenever we help others, there will be always someone else who will be judging you, like saying, or they might get jealous of you helping that person, not this one, like such things. So there will be always someone who would treat you in a bad way, and then your good doings, whatever you are doing in a good way, won't go in a good practice if you reply to that person, whoever is giving you like treating you in a bad way and all these things. It's better replying them, responding them with anger or all such things as an ordinary person.
Aso di
Internet cost.
kwe
Yeah.
Geshe La, Yangshin, maybe right now would be a better time to go downstairs onto the other system because you keep blocking up.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we'll move to the living room.
Sorry.
Okay, no problem. All right. So there you go. Okay.
Yeah, we will move there.
Yes. All right. Sorry for the technical problem here. So I was trying to say before that Yangchen, who is the niece of Geshe La and Dorje La, Dorje's not with us tonight, but she is the niece. She escaped from Tibet in 2006 when she was, I think, 9 years old with her aunt. As a matter of fact, the one who they're staying with now in Virginia was who Yangshin came with. After she arrived into India, upon her escape, she went to see the Dalai Lama, which was typical of what the Tibetans would do. They would go directly to Dharamsala to meet with the Dalai Lama and receive his blessings. and any instructions and so on, any help that he can offer them in order to be able to get themselves situated in the free world. So she finished her school through the Tibetan children's school that is in Dharamsala. She finished her school there, and then later on for college, she went to pharmacy school. So she has a pharmacy degree, and she hasn't really worked in the pharmacy though. She works doing translation with patients who in India, with Tibetan patients who are going to see doctors for examinations and so on, and she translates between the Hindi language and the Tibetan language for them. But she's here in America now, and she's hoping to be able to get situated in another pharmacy program and get proper accreditation to be able to practice her pharmacy work. Okay, so now it seems they're back online, so very good.
Yeah, now we can hear you better.
Oh, good. Okay, good. Yes, you look much better too. Much more stable signal.
And now Geshe is saying in the verse 4, we were doing our best in helping others as much as we could, right? But then in the verse 5, whenever we are doing something good, sometimes like someone else would always be there saying, oh, they are doing this like out of jealousy, they might tell you something. But for those things, we shouldn't react with anger or such things. We should take that defeat by ourselves and then offer the victory to those people who are saying that your good deed is not a good deed, you are doing this out of this, that, all those things. So it's better giving them that victory, so that your like your good deeds, whatever you are doing, continue doing with that thing.
Yeah. 단단디 종카랑길네 자카 yenla 보세야 되게 치디 가르송거스나 마랑조 yen자네 냐죄세스 라고요 말했으니 쳤을고 소소르지 효지게 종첨부 지케쇼스네 대야 자원이네 세고 말했으니 츠송단데 남죄다 덴비기 츠송단지 가르스나 빼는 알아서 빼라고지 샤샤바이나 rāngdā yīng pārā nētāng rāwa jī lēng wī pēnā mōtā rāwa shī tāni shūsō kā lāngā lāng rō wī kāpsā lā jī pāshū pō kī sūsō lā nāng jū tēng tāng jī kī sūsō kā pā jī lēng tē dē wā yī na anē jī kī rāngdā yīng nī kā lā jī kī nē chū lā yā kī nē kī nyāng kā chīmbō tēndē yō wī kā tū tē lā tē chū tēndē kāp tē lā yā mā jē nī khurāng jī 충사 소리데 코란라 톱지 혀싱에 존라다 라소 군다지 라고 충선나 라혀 싱에 존라지 디존라지 송고여레스 텐디지 중바이나 안에 타툴 랑지 참말라지 강에 menjo 코란이나 롱랑에 되이나 문튜나 롱랑고 마인바야지 파즈반도네 상사사 차야지다 수소이나지 네추 인강게 매완데 차야지다 데모 참몽하는 로투야기 텐디 자카게 체도라고 여레스.
And then in this one, it's in the verse 5, it says that, may I take the defeat upon myself. This does not mean like you are losing to anything. It basically means, for example, if you are in the, if you are driving and in a traffic, sometimes there would be like the other passenger in the other one who would be like very angry due to the traffic and all such things. Sometimes they would be honking on you, and then you don't need to react, or like sometimes let them honk and then like let them like take over you so that they can just pass through, so that this would be benefiting like you as well, because you did not show your anger or anything to the other person, and then the other person who was honking maybe in a rush went like ahead of like yourself. So this is like indirectly benefiting both the person. So which is why this defeating yourself does not mean like you are going underneath something, or it means in a like a good logical way.
Yeah. 네춘 된다고 펜션데 모타 타에 지부 세금마레 나랑서 조본 남 펜션을 이나 레기어레 자산 남 펜션을 이나 레기어레 야 미다 민고 마히바 삼상라 레기어레 야 제카다 제카 파라라 레기어레 그래 단다 춘사든가 찍찍레네 종키야 다 찌기찌르 찌 자신 지야데 매와 제네 아니지 더부 첨부 효대가 내수된 송안전나 하디거레스 근데 임바 손다 더부 첨부 마효에 체도라 충사든지 리들레나 yenle jakap toju 효스 자곤 제게 효스 아니 파툴 사마 현자 용거레세 되게 단다 첨부시 된 것도스
And then these things like these defeating yourself over others, giving victory to others, if it is happening in our like day-to-day life, for example, it could happen between two friends or between couples or between country to country. Sometimes it is very important to tolerate these things and then give the victory to the other person, whoever it might be, so that you would be taking the defeat and then giving the victory to the others, so that there won't be any like big conflicts happening due to this small thing.
다 이나야야 리치 소칸나 제네 제용에도 소 베디 최초는 마신지는 같이 이나 베디 소 가르세고래 차상초 왕주 제용에데 먹은 당한 첨부들의 용어도 때때 까들이야 남주다 덴베 토네야 따기 제야제 용거레스.
And also there are times when people treat you very badly with abuse or like such unjust ways. So during those times, you shouldn't take. Geshe is saying you should you shouldn't be thinking like, oh, I should take defeat myself. Not in that way, but you should act in a logical way, so that you won't be like having those unjust to you, like when people act in a very bad way.
간다 단다 님보데 파효 녀모비 양왕도 로니 소소라직 가르마도 가르제용 것도나 소소 녀모비 양왕도 로니 팔레 마테시에 단다 도도디 인사레스.
In total, I think the verse 5 is telling like if the other person is reacting out of anger or any due to the emotional like or due to the control of those negative emotions, we shouldn't react them along like by following those emotions of ourselves as well. We should react like in a proper way by sometimes giving them the victory and then like taking the defeat upon ourselves.
근데 인도 제장안서 딜레그도스 셈나로라 샴바다 제와다 아니 남쪽의 셔러다 레니가 남버지피 남쪽의 셔러다 던디고 토니 연라파 렌테야지 용거를 왜서 간데테고레스야 땅안서 저와레스 대단딩안서 힘고레스 렌테고 용거레스.
Which is why whenever we need to like react to someone or need to give answer to somebody, we should always be able to answer them with love, compassion, and in a logical like way of thinking, so that the other won't get hurt as well.
인도 나랑가 펜스야 휴지 가르 통근도세나 파마다 보고 봐라 이날에 지 빈자다 빈자 봐라 이날에 거래 내수로 어떤데 디즈 테두다 이날에 야 아니 파마기 보고를 렌테 당시 용어도 보고 줘방 연발로제네 파마를 추줘방 연발로인데 파미기 보고를 아니 제와다 샴바다 제위기 토네 팔렌 따다 대단지다 바로 편야지 유엔도 던디지기 토네 만소에 렌 따다 대야요 상도스.
And then my best example is always between the parents and the children. Whenever when the children misbehave or act in a bad way, the parents somehow in one way or the other way, they tend to find like a response or a reply back to them, always with love and care and all such in a very positive way, right? So similarly, when the other person is behaving you with very like treating you with many like bad stuffs, but it is always like maybe like we could find somehow to give them like reply them with love and compassion and then like treating them with a good response.
그래서 어느 단단한 저 측지 디 조파디인다. 조파디야 알아서 이빠데다야 레토고고도스 아니 가르토고도스나 이빠나로라 아니 셈지 히엔라 쪼보다 냠바다 다 지금 뭐 강연 태딩에다 대sol로는 로바 강 투두 소소고 투체데 아니 제구레스 랍사디 다디 스가 듬바디 가르송고도 세나 소소 펜타 제견조다 야보 제견조 강사 든데 카히지기스 파 코란게 지파 가딩라 상시 제게 든데 지그레 삼사 텐데 카히지기 추 랭에 바테데 용고레스 소소라 지 파마 카히 부글 야보 제나 부 카히 가딩 상시 메바 파마라 지 딘레 론자 존다 딘데 용데 지다 시초나노라 소소기나 지 파교로 로바야 부 효제데나 하산난다게 야보 제데나 추 제레 추 가르세 그러고 저 랭에 바테데 딘데지 용거레스 딘데지 용데 잠바네 소소사노 땅데 가르다 그러세나 아니 컨트롤 아야 그 철로 파야 아니 딘데 거슬라 다 땡아 제견조데 오다 마지나 따다 인삼사 딘데 용 효도 지그레스 나랑도 까버까레 소소고 로파 야부 제견조데란 조바 효야 딘데 용도 지그레스 딘데 거슬은 조바 효와 마인 바체니 아니 문에 단에 코강알라다 지 가츠마도 가츠 제바이나 다 다리 조바 고야게 그 개겐다고 인야 삼산다고지 다리 니게 셈게 사모 땅쇼고 이체때야게 최다 이체때야게 이체게 개겐존다 인다세야존 던데파 따구레세야 단다레샤스.
Now coming to the verse 6, even when someone I have helped or in whom I have placed great hopes mistreat me very unjustly, I will view that person as a true spiritual teacher. So this again could be related, we should relate it along with the verse 4, because in the verse 4, fourth verse, it says like, whenever we could help others, we should find it as a rare opportunity and help others as much as we could, right? So similarly, if we are helping somebody, there is this thing in us like, where we will be like, so I have helped them, then like I might get rewarded, like sometimes we might take it in that way, like when you are doing something good, some good things returns back to you. But then like there are some people who even if you have helped them, they might mistreat you back again instead of like being grateful or such things. So it is very important for you to not get angry or like taking it in a regretful way, like thinking, oh, I have helped him during those hard times, but he's repaying it in such a way, like shouldn't go in that regretful way, but instead we should be tolerating this and then think of that person as as your like a spiritual teacher who is teaching you how to be tolerate like in a different like way of situation.
네, 덴데제네. 희니 담버다와 효성로와 다 디츠간 듬바디게 시당 안조 단다디 희니 담버다와 효세 치디 오늘 단행 안조로디 펜 효지 도구도서와 다 디지부 세금면도서 나랑조 겁다 뒤다 가와 야만 로얀다와다 쭈초나나 소소라 네츠 나랑조 미세싱에데 림보인바 손다 네츠 차타 총소 야와다 두와다 던데 거리는 사고요레스 던데 인데 잠바니 네츠 하얀다고 tel라 파쇼 로반다고 지다 다치지 따라버린다 지다 여여반도 레디오레스 던데 인비 카토 tel라 뇨모비 양왕도 송데와 마잉바 제네 다링에게 뇨몽고 꼬들랑아 오늘 전에 수수그 샘데 수수그 야보지 존투고온도 데 마잉바지 샘 지 초다 문팀비기 센지고 월파 준도고온도 따야겠다 지 이체때야게 약현라지 인산에 그뒤나 대산데 투바이나 아니 뇨몽고 양왕 월 파문로야 다 내수말할 펜도 첨보래 하스.
And then not only this, in the verse 6, it says like, I will view that person as a true spiritual teacher, right? So this means whenever like in our life, we face a lot of stuffs, right? Ups and downs every time. But then there were times when we go after those negative emotions, like sometimes we go after the anger, sometimes sadness, this, that, all those different emotions. So you should consider this as a very like a good reminder to yourself, thinking that we shouldn't be going after the emotions, after our emotions. Instead, we should be able to control that. And then this is the best practice, like thinking, okay, like if you are viewing the other person as your true spiritual teacher, then you won't be going after the emotion like right away, right?
시당 알아서 얘를 편도 지역에 내가 주요로와 얘를 편도 지역에 내가 되게 얘를 편도 소소 그 가르 샤와 쩐다시 루바이나 짐바 땅거여나래 대민비게 럽자지 저거여나래 추쇼그 샤와 돈에 희게여나래 대민비게 지 로빠 간디지 제게여나 소소그 로빠 제 차와 다가랑게 따 소소기 샤월럽 전부 루차레스 대 루바 손자 대 제네 코그 춘 난주 냠바 때난다 난주 야와 때난다 대 코랑기 차네레 마도 수술 내와 요 말레스 근데 임바 손자 수소그 샤월에 루차와 잔진 리데레스 수소그 추코그 춘레 야볼로야 그레완다지 제데바 인티나 난 티티스지 파로파 지디 코란에 파효랑 제완다 마 임바지네 수소 냠도 데덴조나 괜찮아 지거레스테
Generally, whenever we help others, whether it's an offering or like doing a good thing or whatever, after each help, it is like after helping, like after each help, it is a very good deed. Like whatever help you have provided, it is benefiting the others, and then it is a very good deed. But then the later part, like hoping the other person would be grateful to you and then saying a thank you, like waiting for that thank you and all such things, that later part shouldn't become along. When you are helping others, it is you benefiting the others, right? Like you both are not related, you are not expecting anything behind, like from this. So you are just helping him, which is a good deed. And then if you are expecting something in return, then it is linked, like it does not become like you doing it. It is either you are doing it for his sake, like such things. So it is always important to not expect something in return.
또 뒤뒤 해봐이나 다 파마그 뿌글로 로바 제와나기 파마그 뿌글로 제와나기 그 무엇도 순다고 지를 파 로바 제바이나 제와 대 야효레 상거도스 파마그 뿌글로 로바 제디 뿌글 응알라 추지 제그레 삼사 대 삼모데 하나 요 말레스 파 코란랑 뿌글 폐게 가자 구도 대랑 제와 토니 대 제그레스.
And I think the best way to help others is we can take it in this way, like how parents help their kids. They never think like anything in return, right? We can take this as like our practical way, thinking like the way our parents treat us, like they never expect something in return, likewise.
디 측은 듬바디게 동제고요레스 샹추고 산다 니제다 대속보데라 말한서 얘는 편도제하게 삼바 하산 남다게 셈바 야와데서로 domde제고요레스 domde 간데 제고레스나 도나 수수그 카투로바 제투고야나레 양직 조보지기 준로바 제투고야나레 아니 텐데게 가츠에 제투도 참마데 수수그 점바 참마데 아니 마 타입 셈제 탄제로 파 대투에 지체 파효로 동에 여딩다 강에 여딩다 지 대출 참마데 소소로 출연효세 된데게 안에 배나 동체효라데 단 디레샤스.
And then now coming to the verse 7, the verse 7, it basically summarizes like all these things together, like the practicing of bodhicitta and then helping others with kindness and all these things. In the verse 7, it says like we should be helping all sentient beings and then taking all of their sufferings. And then the verse 7 in it says, in brief, directly or indirectly, I will offer help and happiness to all my mothers and secretly take upon myself all their hurt and suffering.
디 츠디게 상노 나나도 단다 로종 임바 손자 로장고 콜란디 휴침보 손야다 생휴다 던데 코나 손인고레스 마도 땡업에 내서라 간소 파마이나레 뿌구이나레 지기질 둥엘레레 제안다보다 티 메바데 간소 통슈스 줘데바레스.
And then since we are studying mind training, so this verse is basically like written in order to train us, because there is no way like we could take the hurt or suffering of others, right?
대 인도 잠바네와 말한서 대 인도 잠바네 단디 전당외비 내sol라 옌그 둥에 랑 레야 면조 랑 대와 옌라 때 면조 던데 임바이나 던데게 산노 따나 가르 팽그레스야 돼 저와 쳔버레스 던데게 저와 될레 온데 잠바네 디 산노 디게 가르 코고르잖아 옌그 둥에 ngal라 유로체나 녜게 대와디 옌라 떼투나 녜 떼토고 삼사고 로 던데 야보지 레차위 신체라 미데다 옌라 째와 레메지 당 옌라 뇌체 따야 그 레가 드나야 장가 말레스 다 띵바 손자 옌라 파 페네 마제 차위 신체라 로난 제 두야 당 대초 가나 간산데 레용고레스
So, in reality, we won't be able to take sufferings and hurtful feelings of others. But when we think of these things, if a person is willing to take like all this suffering and hurtful feelings of others, then this means that person will never ever hurt others because he is like hoping to take all the sufferings, right? So in this way, it means that person will never harm others.
그래서이
Yeah.
제장 디 동네에서야 된 간도 뺏게 첨버린 디기 산노 디기 수소의 고양부 효조 그래서 빼나가랑 좀 잠불인데 간라 만추 그 강연 태대야 내양 그 강연 태대야 먹게 그 강연 태대야 아니 초로 그 강연 태대야 대초 참아 근데 수소게 근데 통용대 잠반이 수소 춘춘지 나서나 대디고서 람상 내 춘춘 나야 되게 다리 잠불인데 때디 강에 첨부 태대야 도서 참아고 고쳐와 효와 삼산라고 지레용데 수소 그 강에 춘춘돼서 참아야 잠이 자는 그래서 수소 강에 첨부 연하야 잠이 자도 그래서 강에 춘로도 그래서
And then the verse 7 mainly refers to the Tonglen practice, like giving and taking one. And then for example, like we all see a lot of natural disasters happening in the world right now, right? And then like if you are suffering from a little cold, and then with that, instead of thinking like, oh, I'm suffering from cold, I'm having sore throat and all such things, instead we should be thinking like, may this small suffering of mine, like may this sore throat of mine be able to like belittle those the other natural disasters, the wars, and then the famine, with like whichever the world like is suffering, may this suffering belittle those sufferings.
쇼지는 알아서 동네다 다yen냠제다 yen그 동네다 던데를 상히 야부 제통이 그다 동네다 던데 곰통이 그 되서데 레소나 메디 던데 곰토로 제바이나 소소를 강에 간데지 중바이나 강에 차상 첨부촌에 작은 말했을 때 땡데레스다 사무 땅다 코라난 게 토네 베디 강에 참아 춘춘소야 그랬어.
In another way, if a person who is being able to like sympathize and empathize others' suffering, and then having a good practice of Tonglen, then that person would never be like with their own like proper mindset, like that mind training, they would never suffer from like due to like thinking in a way like how do we say it? Like, oh, I'm suffering from this, or like due to your own thinkings, you would never suffer because of the good practice of Tonglen, and then having that good empathizing and sympathizing nature.
다 대인도 잠바데 가랑소 대 측간 제바데 가르땡거여서나 안다 봐도 가랑소 대측 거마데서 참상게 샹주그 센다 니제다 하상다 데서 장자 송되어레스 즉 하마디게 가르 송거르세나 나란초게 간을 하산난다게 옌편다 샹주그 센다 동네다 저쪽 간 제대바 저쪽이야 니데 최제게 드마디게 동네 제마데스 하산난다게 제효스 좋아 라산난다게 제효스 라산난다게 든데지 용차위 신체라 어느 저런 거 타면 타줘대 라니 둥엘은 타고 요래 둥엘 탕에 대 타워 쟁이 그 로데 가르레 슬라나 최 단지 유만나 이 동에 그 로데 레스 다 되게 에네 저랑 강에 그 징탈에 조투고 레스 스데레 하스
권실러다. 고생했어.
다다 디요로와 즉 타마디게 대다 꾸인자 최제제 또비 틈에 마바 힌송로와 스디니근 대와데 가르송 거잖아 공을 측감 듬보디게 하산 남다체 이행을 제와데 하산 남다 그때 상주그 이행의 체도 라니 그 상주그 센제도와체 저공체 즉 이행 그 측간의 냐죄도 세스 송대여 줘로와히 대초 참마데 가르세나 지대 최전다고 지는 라차찬다고 지는 천년라나보다 든지게 많이 받지 오늘 하산 남다게 제고스 최강 제바데 참마데다 하산난다게 제효세 데츠들이 하스탄다데.
Okay. Now coming to the verse 8, the verse 8 says, I will learn to keep all these practices untainted by thoughts of the eight worldly concern. And then may I recognize all the things as illusion and without attachment gain freedom from the bondage. Now the practice over here refers to all those practices which we have discussed from verse 1 till verse 7, how we should be helping others, treating others with kindness, and then practicing of bodhicitta, compassion, altruism, and then tolerance, all these things, the practices, we should do all these things with sincerity, like with proper sincerely, not being practicing these like along not doing these practices with the thoughts of the eight worldly concerns. And then these concerns are the gaining of something and then losing, and then the pleasure, and then the praises being and then the blames, and then the fame and dishonor while doing all any actions.
닌디 페이지라서 대답군제 최제제 또비 점에 마바힌세야 줘로와 강로 수소 그 전조 강도서 제바 차상데 모비지 터디자만이 때문 청이 되기 제고로와 남주다 18도 시땡고로와 듣고 18라는 것도 뇌내서도 말와 오 든든도 오지 마지라고요 레스타 간다 강 전조도서 상마티.
And then Geshe was able to have a good example. For example, if in a movie, if the actor is showing a very good gesture or like acting all like if he's like how do we say, jumping and all, doing something like a stunts, but all these actions happen in the movie, right? He's acting out. It wasn't from deep inside. Likewise, Geshe is saying the practices, the kindness and the tolerance and then the compassions which we do for the others, that should be coming out inside, not like how in a movie it's being acted.
근데 마송다 때 나로라 지땡기 최제세 되잖만에 충분히 띵 사보 제마 해바치네 최대지 랑루스다 근데 돈은 라차차 돈이 제당 나가 제지요레스 대촌적 돌아 돈한지 때로지스 근데 마제시고레스.
And then it says shouldn't the practices shouldn't be go after those thoughts of the eight worldly concerns. And then Geshe is saying like please like pay some attention toward those eight worldly concerns.
다 딘디 인디 잠만에 나라도 참아 조구에 대 징탈에 조구거레스 등에 나라도 참아데 등에 그 도스제는 나라도 징게요레스와 나로 생녀몬바 되게 주제체네 나라도 등에를 도스제는 녀몬 그 도스제네 타박 당하나 담해요레스 다 딜 트레지 요레웨스를 트레지 요레스 다 트레디 간데지니 조구레스디 최탄진 나원 나기게 최탄진 나원 나기게 메버토피 로 딘디지게 다 프로그레스라고 하레스 주말 배간 주말 등안도 그 민주티야죠 매직 등안도 어디.
And then since we all are surrounded by sufferings, and then the sufferings are arising due to our negative emotions, so in order to be free from this suffering without any attachment, we should be able to how do you say, without any attachment, be away from that bondage of the suffering and then those negative emotions.
Chutanji Jumar said the pedi condition Yaris Lavaina. Juma said the Naranzo Pigila Chik Tan Ni Son Hanguyana, Tas Ni Son Hana Yomaris. Then I get Pigig Mintu Tension, Lambuchin, which is Younger, dear Lambuchi Tona Yoris and a Yomelting on Haku is. They might be chilling around so que Mopochil Tayon did somebody. Magasa chila tayon de zamane meten pete he which it sell give it to jatan and hunger is so gasa chi toyon de zamane meten he which it sell give it kron yapota pi tapota chi tende he which it tayagores chi tenen ta cha ge jeson ron and hantan chi re chi ne he dang ge jeson ron and hantan chi re is ro tende imba son sang ngarang so ge tanda nyumu pi ge tong de zamane ngarang so ge kan taba na yi Nagi the Churio Tamaris, you candigina. Till Jumal Pegaris. Do Duni Hena Aranso, you crang Nilu Mumaj Yorwa. You crang never Moma the candigina and so chun ton to go Amaris.
And then basically, whenever we face a situation, we actually is never like we are unable to see the like the real suffering. For example, if you are seeing if you meet with somebody whom you like, with your going after that the desire emotion, you'll be thinking like if you are taking considering this good this friend of yours as the good one, then with your own like the desire nature, you'll be thinking, oh, he's the best, like he's good, everything, like all the good natures. And then if you are thinking like one of your like friend as a very bad one, then by going after the anger nature or like by going after that, you'll be thinking of that person as your enemy, like, oh, this person is not good, he's the worst, he does this, he does that, all such things. So whenever we see a situation, we are always being illustrated by the emotions. So we are always under illusions. So we should be like we are unable to see the real situation.
Tende imba sonza ngarang soge susok nawa ta jine susok ndridiyo samsa jita susok hendiyo samsa jita susok ji kar jena tongdang da chasang ndridiyo samsa ji yunga yorele tele yinji minji ndriyo meke hinju nyamdun rogu res tati sabza hiyo jego res.
And then we always think that our own perspective is always right. So we should be very careful with that, because we are always tainted by the emotions. We never like with so which is why it is very important in our daily lives, not always thinking like our own perspective is right.
Tandandi yuma hibi lue siya di ngamso chusho nono ji hiabayna Tomni sene, Tomni tobi hera sigures, Tomni de la injigi toni imti lagdo, imti tobi lode lagures.
And then our mind training practice must be unified with our direct perception of the ultimate truth. And then this ultimate truth would be the emptiness.
Ngote, but katula empty le di tsidi nge tizi hingi yore tomba lagya gores rwa. Tomba lagya du katu kuwa len tugu mandus. Tangoma tomba se de karil kogurasana. Ngarang soke tawa nagi meba ta, ngarang soke tonga nagi meba. Yuk nilu chiyorwa. Ngo tendechi kotuwa ina ane tongni di kotu gures.
And then when we look at the word emptiness, it sounds like, oh, empty, like just the normal word empty, right? But then we should take it in that way, like whatever we see or whatever we hear, that is like empty.
다 근데 임바 손자 간소 강 공도 휴비게 닌제 꼴을 휴여레 샹주가 생고 꼴을 휴여레 하상 꼴을 휴여레 돈이도비 혀르 꼴을 휴여레스와 근데 임바 손자 간소 그 동에레 문에 파 동에 짬에 종에데 소레세나 돈이도비 혀르담 돈이도비 혀르데레스와 델 로파디 가르고레세나 샴바다 제와다 하상세야데 데소 고기여레스다
Don't you bishira ben khala.
다 empty 싱이 empty 야봉 원숭이 그 주말 히빌로 세야지도 어때르다.
Okay. And then the ultimate truth is the emptiness way of practicing. And then in order to gain this proper mind training, along with this mindset, we should be having like kindness and then altruism and then compassion, all these alongside as a practice, so that we will be able to gain the ultimate truth, which is the emptiness.
때는 나랑 저기 똥니또비 헤라디그 녀모비 카테디 간데짜고 요래서나 나랑 저 빼나 디나기를 해서 코랑 카투 코랑 메그 카테라 추고그로 와서와 안에 최디게 메타다 속고 요래서 뭐 되는 인체네 나랑 저기 카투 코랑 배경 녀본다고 돼 칸원다고 지요로와 칸원다고 돼 카투디 니루 싱에 들어도 나랑 좀 망포진 고녀제 돼야 돼 니루 따다 마시니 야와라 두와라 야와 통 안에지 소소라 야보 쟁에데 참살라 두와 통 참살라 두와 쟁에데 야와 통 용된 고로 든지 제지는 간소 강에 망보 용디 거로 왔어 아니 따다 시딩에지 중바 인테나는 고로디 제야 용고 마로 왔어 근데 임바 손잔다 간다 니루디 시고야 돼 개침보디 샤디오레스 녀모군 고고 원래 마태야 돼
Okay. And then this emptiness way of practice, in order to gain emptiness, basically in emptiness practices, it means like, for example, if there is a fire happening, then water is the treatment for that, right? If we put water, then the fire goes out. And then likewise, so basically in our daily lives, we are always confused somehow one or the other way. We never know like which is the right treatment for our own. Sometimes we are being lured by this emotion, sometimes we are being controlled by that emotion. So we are always being controlled by this, that, like all such emotions. So it is very important to know like which is like being not in that confusing state.
당을 타마딜 휴지여스 가리인사나 만소 매 엔든 바더와 매 엔든 바디 카투텔라 라파디 메칸라 투시 야지니 징이 숙간지 연구 말했어 라파 메기 치 중에 되네 단다메살 티 가르치니 치 주고 말해서는 나랑 속에 메티기 수술 등에 조구여 봤다 라파 치기여 봤다 내가 차상 하권이 뒤치기여레스 지금 말했어 맨날 깡준이 총이 연구 말했어 된 나긴 나랑 저 홍초단 대차단 해당단 나제다 대초고 월판 로디거레스 대초 월판 로디야 된서 따세부 가르된 거에서는 콘소 뭐 마신 콘소가 내다 뭐 마신 야도 뭐 마신 로디거레스 근데 임바 손자 녀무 대초 뭐신도 거 빼게침 살레스 다wo 녀무 임바데.
And then lastly, I would like to give an example. For example, if there is a burning fire, a fire burning, like a fire on here, then we would never put our hand on top of it because we know like it's gonna burn ourselves and then it's gonna hurt us. So similarly, whenever we are in our life, whenever like we are always behind the anger and those fears and all these negative emotions, right? That's because we are unable to know that is gonna hurt us in return, like just how we were being able to see if there's a fire burning, we will be like, we won't go touching that and all these things, right? So similarly, we are always behind these negative emotions because we are unable to see them.
That 내가 효차원라고 인스 어느 나라서 양의 양도 디 가르서 로드이나레 데드이나레 냐드이나레 지 감바제는 로그에나레 지 상준나란 로그에나레 지 되천되는 나숑라 지 나라서 소소소소 생라 따제 제대로 제다네 야지 현로 투레스 강이용마레스.
And then wherever we are, whether we are going on a walk or like heading somewhere, mind training and then practicing and then thinking of like our own mindset, like by giving a thought on these things on a daily basis would always benefit us.
디상한서 쫓어나노라 메이크업 세네지 제조 제야데 다소 희원도스 데 류게 슐류게 the yapures
Mhm.
data nyamdol now send makeup say joro
Mhm.
now send zezo the yapochi jeturo jena tangone tane ki deji tangone tanelana mebati tana togo yobati ta separates.
Mhm. For example, like in our society these days, like people are how do we say, like going after the beauty things, right? Makeup and all such things, which is there to cover stuffs, and then like we are checking for beauties and all. But then the most important thing, the inner beauty, like where the real happiness lies. So it is very important for us to check our minds, like our thoughts and all these things on a daily basis. All right, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Ane kushin dati brother Lance.
Yeah, now Brother Lance can take it over. Thank you.
Thank you very, very, very much, Geshe La. Thank you very much, Yang Shen. Thank you. That was very, very good and quite to the point. And I was getting flashes of questions and relevance in today's world with what you were saying today. So thank you very, very much. I think, yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Please tell Geshe La.
시교 디즈게니 텐상 잠링나 충전뉴스 디게다 빼야고디 딘토도 투지나스.
Welcome.
So now is a good time for our question and answers. So I'd like to open it up, and I'd like to start with Bernie because last time we ran out of time. Bernie didn't get to speak. So if you have any thoughts or questions that you would like to express for Geshe, please, now would be a good time. Thank you.
Okay. I remember when I always used, well, not always, sometimes I talked about Lojong at the Susquehanna Yoga Center when I was leading the class on meditation. And often I got pushback, people shouldn't have to put up with abuse. They should stand up for themselves. And I agree at a certain point, but at a certain point, I partly agree and partly don't agree with that opinion. But I was always had a hard time trying to express the difference between putting up with abuse or letting yourself being abused and using mind training to cultivate patience and non-anger. So perhaps the Lama could explain what he understands as the difference.
All right. Dilas zamzam koya khare lojong da andirolani di khare kogi gumdu ga jendro dendro chik di chidi zam lojong ko lidus ko khadu ne khare chulu udlana mi shemba gi suso la kyonga da ani kang nyapje ses to lan di do khud la sha mi gi kanda manda di che dilla di zam ta kanda ta suso kondo jes la dra yo mari lan ta mil ge khate gyo ro sheda want to call a coin district sumo ches.
Tuji ches tati mune ngarang cho mi pepare ngarang cho lamsan ti sanu khoya la kale khabu peyo res pen ngarang ka sanu khar khogu yo sena jakhachi ki chi tsenzu cheyash doa jakhachi ki chi tsenzu che de tsamba ne nyapcho se khudewa inde na peti korani chumi tamro ya nyenga yorwa pen xiawa dawa chi ki nga chenze temo ta pe gawo yo sarwa di indi tsamba ne senge ki xiawa tende sanro di tsamba ti da chi che chu yanlen chu na matewa chi ko treyanda wada ane do khumden joro cheba ina pa takarang chumi tansha da sahya da sehya di chi dus semje khashi ki susula nipa kachu yo che ki chuchi dengdi tsamba ne no khorang subuji khe yo di tsamba ne ane chi karase wara lamsang zengwa jina masaya nda wata tadaya nda wata an kare tende thaya yungu dos tende yingba songzang kare phasho ka nyapcho de sola karase wara lentis tis tegwe tende tendi yung sares.
Thank you. Like as an ordinary person, it is very hard for us to like if someone else is like abusing us, it is hard for us to not react with anger or like standing up for ourselves as well. But then, for example, like I love to watch the Geography channel a lot, where like they would be showing a lot of animal related stuffs, right? For example, if a lion is about to eat a deer, if the deer tries to fight back or like do something in return, the lion being the king of animals, sometimes they are also scared to attack the deer. Like if the deer from their side, if they are not doing anything, like if they are just like staying there and then let the lion take you over, then they just eat and everything. But then if you are like if the deer is sometimes like when they try to fight back with your horn and then something, then there are times where the lion like gets timid a little, like being scared of that small animal as well. So it is very important to stand up for yourself as well, but then in a like logical way.
Pena ngaranda wachil pechi kyabaina sarwa. Pechi kyabaina namdu da wachina roguya na sarwa. Namdu china ro ne anan jikuru no ba manga tu chige anan namdu ten jiku cherwa. Jiku chene namdu tege Mongba mat tongcha chicha yosa tende chigla nöche chedo chigi yoba nge hakwa wa ina dedu kapsula nge karasa ko jikuru no batu solo khate cha thaju chagra ma to dedu kapsula nge zo gonchen deg mares tandan dende ke thuya yungres.
For example, if you are in a plane and then if that is gonna be hijacked, like maybe like 2 to 3 terrorists is gonna attack the whole, like everybody, like the whole passenger, which would be like maybe some 100 people. So during those times, it is very important for you to act, like reacting them with another, like responding them or like fighting back with them is also important, because the lives of those other hundreds of passengers are also important.
Yeah, pena tende imba songsa ngacho mat bongcha da chicha da bongcha dende jabya ge chedula sarwa. Tende ge jaya ge chedula nöche jingi ge merre ni re ge chedula soso ge yang khate chane dongli chegwe dende yongurla tedu yakho chena nyomo be yawa do manro wa chene tik shamba tsewi ge tone dongli cheya yores tendi cheya yores.
Sometimes in order to save the lives of like thousands of people, and then fighting against one is very important, because if you are fighting against this one person, you are saving lives of thousands, which is a very good way. But then it is always important to fight that one person, not with anger or like with those negative emotions, but then instead we can fight him with by showering him with love or compassion or these things. So like such practice is always there.
Shitang aranzo junhe ya mse ya kumaja ya doso tsama de marumba res ro kago ya res ina ya kare la yende dunge ke mshebo tamba de ke namjo da dembe ke tone junhe go ya ane kumaja go ya ane mse go ya yungres te yang ko leka de dukjare lathu mares nganzo leka yang ta batende duye yoreste.
And then generally, when we tell a lie and then when we kill people or stealing something, these are always like those bad stuffs, right? But then there are like certain stories where like those great sentient beings, they came into the forms of lives, like where they also tell like where they act logically, but then they tell lies or like they fight or something. So somehow in a way like we have like we should practice these but like we don't need to we should stand up for ourselves, but in a good way, like not going after our own emotions.
마다 근데 자야한다 왔다 찌기찌는 지구제야다 근데 그 내던로 투용도 뭐 망번내 천로야게 체도 랭고 장으로 제대 힌도는 수소 그 주인현의 파쇼 까투나 데디 주인데 그 내던 고쳐되어res.
Sometimes if it's between like if it's a war or something, but if you could if you could tell a lie, and then if you are telling a lie and then somehow resolving this big conflict which is gonna happen, then that lie is worth it. Like you should tell that lie.
어느 대단 냠들 나랑서 제도 단기 배휴와 나기 전에 뭐참 분산데 이게 제도다 밀 라나메 비길 시 셈지 부참 분산을 펜토 제딩에 맨데지기 제도라 미주만다워레 세고 총바 인테나 가서 갑다 들었다 봐이나야 딜레던 드디만다고데 용그레스.
So everything is based on like the situation where there are like times where like you should be killing one in order to save like 1,000 lives. So that killing one sometimes may seems right. So it is always important to know the situation and then act logically.
시당이 꼬마제 베디카샤레스로와 계시 간다고 질 빼겨봐는 이 꼬마제 그 뒤세지 샤시그레스나 샤시그레스 간데 샤시그레스나 셈지 빼는 거라서 디산 잠불인데 간라 디 무시 또게 무시 대등인데는 망보 연구하레스로와 던데 태대와 학고와 찔라 아니 녜게 뇌네 베게 잡고 세나지 지게 머세나지 지게 방저 나로라 네초 초진의 베게 파떼기는 망보지 잡토야 던데 레기도나는 이꼬마인데 잡시그레스.
For example, for me, I'm abandoned, like I am banished from stealing and all these things, being a monk. But then if there is a country where like people are dying due to hunger and all such things, and then if the king has a lot in his storehouse, like being stored and all these things, then I might take that action of stealing, despite it being like, yeah.
뭐 던데나 왔다 펜션 던데 임바 손장 나랑도 체장 로장고레 대양 나랑서 당기 남주다 dem비 헤르디 구글에서 해야 돼. 달레니가 넘버 제비 헤르데다 하상난다 되니 송데 고레서와 되니 송데 여차이 신실다 펜토 마도 다 뇌준 추는 용식 거라 말했어. 샤워 가르잖아.
This is why mind training, along with along with compassion and then altruism and then bodhicitta, all these actions should always be paralleled, should be together, so that any action come out of these things would always be good.
그잖아. 스텔렌드 레다스.
Yep, thank you. That's all.
Combination of wisdom and intelligence and so on.
Yes, thank you, Dorji.
Sorry, Brother Lance. Can I just, if it's okay, can I comment one quick thing?
Of course, please.
Yeah. So what I have just heard at the moment right now is like in English we have called what is mercy killing, right? Mercy killing. So what Shamba and Geshe just summed up is that all the negative emotions, like or negative things like killing, lying, it's not necessarily always bad thing. There are some exceptions, you know, that there is an exception to all those things, like even committing, telling lies and killings and so on. And then he clearly make it a point, like for the sacrifice, for the betterment of the whole community or for the society, then one sacrifice is warranted, is worthwhile. I think that's what he mentioned. And then it also reminds me of the Robin Hood story, right? Taking from the haves and giving to the have-nots. So that kind of Robin Hood story where you take from who has a lot of and then give it to the one who doesn't have seems to be a fine thing. Just a quick note. Thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you for pointing that out. So we have to make a determination of a higher purpose. Something for the greater good, for the greater benefit of other beings and so on like that.
Yes, yes.
But still taking responsibility for those decisions and those actions.
Yes, exactly. We have what is called white lie, right? Sometimes white lie just to help, you know, with the good intentions, with a good intent. So white lie sometimes is okay based on what they were saying is.
Right. Thank you. Alex, I would like to ask you, would you like an opportunity to ask a question or make a comment, please?
Oh, thank you, thank you. I think I had a similar kind of question, but maybe more hypothetical. Like, for example, a person who has not done anything bad yet, but you know their state of mind, and maybe they said something, or we know many instances where people would be like posting on internet that they have a weapon and they want to harm somebody. What would be our action? Should we do something about that or say something? How would we approach that? Because they may be changing their mind in the end. So, but we don't know. But we feel that there is a dangerous situation coming up.
Okay.
야, 저 송다 가르쳐 hindugo.
Yeah. So, okay. Lance, can I go ahead and help him this all?
Yeah, please either translate for Geshe or make a comment. Yes, thank you.
Sure. Yeah. So what Alex just said, if I can translate for Geshe here. So Alex dila sukarsore Geshe michi ki tanda taja da internet da Facebook kabai ne tindila krala susuke gola cha yopa menda da andi yopa tindik toni toto da wache bosho da wache andi che ngamsui chegu yopa che ha ko ba ina 아니 난수기 코로나 따판다 제단다 부디 가르 제고래 지신의 미디어 년카지 된지 인식 그래서 더 미주마 두서고 콜 따판다 부다 제단다 간디라고 지셔고래 됐어요.
어디 나로라 차다 제딩에 몇든다 지게 따지 기분 담은다 유스 라소나 땅안서 따당 가르 제고래 세워라죠.
그래서 시나고에한다 보다 프랑스가 년간다 부지 통 민가 희중에서 맞던지네 한테 전에 여러 왔다 빼나 지소라 같이 인식 봐라 근데 그도 통바이나 아니 건 중요히 콜 파야린테탄 간디다 오시고 그랬어.
네. 만서 담보데 샤와 간디질 투바이나야 셈나 남다데 말레와 제고고도스 셈나 시당 dobdikala chedu senla namda tis tamboda legres ngarandu me phepa ina khandijena legrede namda de cherun rogya mayimba cheba chen sende ma nen thuwa che sende nen thuba ina semde tata leba ina ngarandu namchu ki hera che khandiji tenguna susu ten thugres tande imba sonda shawa khandiji cheba ina tambo namda malangwe de kechemondus ane tende chiche ane tende ke mitte so ritela 도전 제거를 나라서 지 수수기 가르세 그러고 주본디 라파를 와서 나라서 주본디 라파지 키데요레 지 나라서 나주 차주 영의 그 주본디 키데요레 가리나 차주 영의 주본디 키데요디 잠만에 주본디기 체도를 나라서게 도전 제거야 서로 땡디 따다 땡디 제거라마도 nga 최징이네 가리나 지 가르세 강이 동네 지기 생겨서나 제기야 봐이나 단조지 물리는 뭐지 짜 첨번디 아니 다가지 되면서 톨란로야 되냐 가도 여봐 수잔디 늘 제때 희우체 그래 수수고 리데 짜 첨부 희우레스.
So whenever we are dealing with situations like someone who is boasting of possessing weapons and pose as a threat and danger to the societies, so individual approach to such circumstances might best be with a calm mind, like don't overreact or like deal it with a calm mind and don't anxieties or fear overtake it. So I think because when you deal any situations with a calm mind, then it will be reasonable and more realistic. And at the same time, having said that, it's very important. Like whenever someone is posing a threat to your, when someone is posing imminent dangers to your own safety, then it's so important to be cautious, to be taking necessary precautions, including like self-defense, because our body is also perishable. And if anything happened, attacked our body, it might be assaulted and it might be harmed and damaged. So therefore, the ability to self-defend and taking care and necessary precaution is extremely important. So that's the right way to go about.
다 든데게 맨년 같이 zon다보다 도파 사데 연조도 든데도 수송 간다고 지이나 든데 투수와 있는 게 가르쳐서라서나 네 에는 슈초고 쉬운 거 차네 된자라 따도 징이게 된자가 녀도 봐요디 잠만에 든데를 땡데 렌트에서레스 디옹이 코란을 나나 제바다 코란을 직자자 제바 든데 게 말레스 슈초 추용 그 된자가 체동이 내도 발지 때서레스.
Yeah. So if I am in your positions, if I'm in your shoes when facing with such situations, I would definitely, instead of taking the matter in my own hands, I would report it to the law enforcement, because they are the professionals who deal with such situations. And I'm handing over to the informing the law officer, law enforcement, not to bear any grudge for the guy, or just have any kind of ill thinking or ill wills against the person who is posing a threat, because I'm doing it to be good citizens, like good Samaritans, like thinking for the larger welfare of the societies, for the good of the betterment of the societies. So that kind of drive me to report such situations to the right law enforcement. That's all I have on that questions.
Thank you. That is very helpful. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much for the question and for the answers. I think last time maybe Ryan, were you with us last week? Did you get to ask a question of Geshe La? Would you like to answer something? Ask something now?
I started with you guys last week, and then I lost power, and so my internet connection went down. But I was able to listen to the recording.
Well, do you have an opportunity now, for tonight's meeting? Do you have any comment on anything that we talked about so far?
Yeah, well, I posed this question to the group, and I liked some of the feedback that I got from it. I was wondering, the word training kind of seems like it brings to mind for me practice and kind of repetition. And so my question was, because this is kind of like training our mind towards wisdom. And so I was wondering if we're not thinking in this really kind of like effective and helpful way that helps steer ourselves towards wisdom and kind of away from selfish concern, then the rest of the time when our mind is kind of reactive and kind of haphazard or selfish, then are we training in the opposite direction? And that's my question, I guess. Thank you, Geshe, and thank you for the teaching.
Mind training said that Jonda said the training said the Koyun do that mancha susuk Jonda Chegueta. Any training said the Jonda city, any Anja Jani Chadu shed the Guag, the Dig Sonda which Krala, some of you corner with those. The that Tindiki Cherry Koso, the Susula Hipa Raya da Anina Pinto Yaponda, which is Tindi Yuag, the Jita Chagodos. That Kesi Jonda da the magic Baina. 야 가르수그레지 소소그 셈바드파 카효드페 두산다고 질은조치니 아니 지 공부를 매봐 아니 지 인자만자다고 찬도에 든디다고 지 네바지 용구두스 뭐 든디를 다지 탈란다고 지 개연하면아스게 다지 jon다랑 제바이나 야보지 여봐 마제나 야페 카토 고톤 조샤에 든디 네반지 용구두 다디 준데 든디 리베 안 들미세지 랑가다고 지 여레 송게
도잖아 제가 뜻배 메시게 저와 내가 첨부를 나라도 뺀 차기가 빼나 마인드 트레이닝다 body training 지요로 되니 배드 로카레스 나라도
So yes, so this is a very important point that the one who asked questions made, and it's very important questions. However, we need to make a differences between the mind training and the body trainings that we have a body training and the mind training. So these two are completely different things.
Yeah. 먼저 mind 단다 셈게 로종지다 셈을 공리때야 줘라 셈을 공리때야들 파 가주 공리때 바이나 파 야른 도야지다 야른 도야지다 야 뭐다 마서 공편다고 돼 폐를 챈다가 지여르세 춘요 말에서 빠디 시상사다 파파파 벤로레스 주보티게 류제들 도스 제데드 잠바니 로니 나라도 로 춘춘네 순주 나올라 주보로 류제다 가리네 야포지 용거레데 데네네 야질렌로데 주보 코라 마지 콘로데 파 같이 제데노 제 면조지 야 타메도 배워 많이 빠지 파 곤로였던데 용거도 와서 센레던데 고야 춘요 말이스
Yes. So the difference between mind training and body training is for mind training, the more you train, the better you become and the more comfortable you become. And the improvements that you can achieve from mind training is limitless. And there's what is called mind elasticity, so the more you become trained, the better you become. And so there's this mind elastic, so like the way the more you stretch, the more you can stretch it. So this is endless, and it can advance to higher and higher and higher, almost endless. However, for the body training, depending on your age, like when you are young, maybe your body can be trained very well, but then to a certain age, like when you reach to a certain level of your age, then the training might needs to be stopped, and it has a limit. It's reached that kind of limit. So one thing is, mind training is limitless to what extent it can go and to what advancements it can achieve, whereas body training is limited to a certain age and to a certain threshold. Yeah.
최전 다체그 손바나기 전에 단당 알아서 생 야외 쇼로 공기 지야다 공기 때야데 조위그 톤의 제국어래서 배조그 톤의 제국어래서 남희그 첼라 최기 공기 땡땡땡땡땡로데 잠바네 남희그 첼라 저랑 그 셈래 아니 조메그 용화다 저 퇴제네 배디 공조세야데 그게 그 수속이 뭐 연다지기 원에 혼돈라야게 젠다고 저 제조 제운디네 수속 랑기 하고네 오 단데 저바 공사 투수다 세나네 랑기 그 저발레오 마토지게 소위 그 톤에 파지 빨리 접이 톤에 파 제목어야지 땡땡 용어요래서 배디 곧 공부 타신선.
Yeah. So so the mind training, the more you are acquainted with it, the better you will be in handling your emotions. So and then, for example, it will also become you become very comfortable. You will become used to it, and your advancements or your accomplishments will be visible to the extent that when you are facing a crisis, and when you are about to show your negative emotions like angers and so on, then the mind training will help you to be more proactive rather than retroactive, going offensive rather than defensive. So that is the kind of the benefits of mind training. So the benefits that mind training brings in helping us to tame our emotions, controlling our emotions, managing our emotions outlet is tremendous. It's very, very palpable.
Penang penso chunjuji ya choaje. Penang anso da wachi chagana sem lojong chingi yin sigwara ta lo nyekhu tsadang sem lojong chingi yin sigwara de tanda suso ki control dongle chegu enare döchala dongle chegu enare zowa ko thone pa hyub jani chegu nge de cha de yos. Nganso gom sangi ki gongsa chonda wachi chagya pa yin thena control jesa ka yonda wachi leso na pegele control jea pa ya pegele chen joyanda wata chi suso ka dawo jamanda wata nenda wa chagya pa ina da seyanda wata chen seyanda wata pegele tsingenda seyanda wata tende jobe ka lusi kora mandus tende yinba sonza konamba tsoka senje tsaman rachon taga yo pa dungen mende pa ta dewan pa chi chonda wachi ta tsewa shenyong ka jinchong ji yobe ka ta sebo tende ju tong tuku dos.
So even myself, someone who is a monk who has been a celibate for more than 20 years, over 20 years, and we are also not perfect in terms of achieving the mind trainings. We still struggle. It's also an ongoing process for us. And so including like attachments and so on. However, someone who is really accomplished, someone who have achieved the highest level of mind training, like His Holiness Dalai Lama, who is always sees like anyone, even a bad person's, he has the ability to distinguish the actor and the actions. So he is full of compassion to persons, knowing, okay, it is not the persons who did it, it was the actions. So he kind of make a distinction between the actor and the actions. And he is so full of compassion toward those people who even make mistakes and so on. And so he always sees something positive in those people, even though no matter how bad they have done, and he has those things. So what I'm trying to say here is this mind training is an ongoing process. It never stops, and it never kind of ends in its own way. So it is a struggle, and it is an ongoing process. That's what we need to realize.
So, nga chunjuji kyochowaje, tanda ganso sem le lojong te siya da sem le gongri ten siya di yinji meji chi ngaranso wenbi ne chi la de che ne chi tuche tsama le tang nami tsama le tang chi tende kiburang go mares ngaranso rohyon duhyon dil gongri hiba tenya yores kare ngaranso di tando gongri tenya dila kare la chi mil manze bata na la manyen bata ane chi wo tende ri thongdi tsamane tandon del gongri tenya koka de yakhe res tangi nganso hene tamba tawra hyo seya tana yi.
Yes, so mind training, how we can familiarize with our mind training, not necessarily that we need to live in a cave and meditate, not necessarily that we need to have a very secluded place and where we can just train our mind. So not necessarily it has to have those things. So mind training can be worked out even when you're walking, even when you are staying, and even when you are facing a crisis or challenges. So under any circumstances, mind training can be make work, and you can try to familiarize yourself with this mind training. So the advantage is under any circumstances, not necessarily it has to be completely quiet, secluded, or in a very quiet place. It can be adopted, it can be managed at everywhere, in many places.
Chi jena ngaranso zatsang para la man training te koka da 지 발라다 파마다 보고 바로라 지 생로 로종 때 고거다 지 쳐다 제야 돼 먼저 기본도 될래 갑다 뒤 통해 돼 지잖아 야와 이렇게 체레스
And it's also possible, like in a family, the couples, the wife or husband, or even the kids and the parents, they often face challenges and issues and conflict and so on. So those may be a good example, or those may be a good circumstances where the mind training can still be blostered, can really put into uses to deal with the situations or to diffuse the conflict. So mind training can come to uses at many situations, including the one I just mentioned. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you very much. It's very provocative. I'd like to ask Gavin, were you with us last week, Gavin? And if not, would you like to make a comment or ask a question?
I was not with you last week. I'm sorry. It is very provocative, the answers to the questions that the Lama has given. And I'm not sure if I have any questions, but I am assimilating his wisdom. I can understand what he's saying, and it reminds me of our own spiritual evolution during our lifetimes. We occupy it is to learn how to manage one's reaction and not react in anger, but to react in the compassion for life and for others' lives. And I'm reminded of that woman in Palestine in 2003. She Rachel Corrie. She was there standing up for their rights, and they bulldozed her. I don't know. She was compassionately standing up and defending other people's lives and livelihood, right? And so I understand what the Lama is saying. I give great appreciation. Yes, thank you, Lama, for this wisdom. If I come up with a question, I will tune back in. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much. Dorje, would you like to translate that for Geshe? Thank you.
Sure. Yeah. Korik distance tanda de Geshe ji shipa ta Geshe da tanda ji herb de hien de kog be December no ma timban jegu yus ani be yabu shongson kadin is kansna Kurang kamu dil ningi jeb jini sanlo karkos na ngan sugi chusho gu thoni ta jin jwa gu perim ji yora tindil sanlo khe ji ta ani ngan sugi kari inele ji shangminji thoni lalin ta ji ma to lan sandung ten da ji mai pa ani Kurang ya pe cha su pe na Palestinian ge ni tung sum lo la jimi ji Kurang ge ji ngogonda boda Kurang ge ta chi tutse tndi sheyen de ani Kurang ya pe lampares da Kurang ge ani Kurang ganso le tong da bu shere ani pe di himba ge pe di moda ge di zi chen ni jere de morant ri ya lani ta che tndi lo kho tndi yo ba so ji karsu bi champagne da tndi ge samo che do ran tndi ji re da di Kurang ge da ga tushen da bu ji juwa tndi le suna ani kuchos ni kame karna ba so pento dos tuji chenas. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'd like to make a comment and ask a question. And that is, I always look at things from a practical point of view. And how would we actually contemplate the 8 verses of mind training? And to put that in a context, along with our bodhicitta, loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity. So for me, a practical way of doing this, and maybe this would be helpful, I made this little sketch here. I hope you can see it. But on one side of a piece of paper, I've got the 4 vast immeasurable qualities of bodhicitta: loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity. Then on the other side of the paper, I've got the 8 verses of the Lojong, of the mind training. And I've drawn a line from just a couple of these so you can see I've created what we call a matrix, where loving kindness goes to each one of these verses. Compassion goes to each one of these verses. Empathetic joy would go to each one of these verses, and equanimity would go to each one of these verses. And so they're working back and forth with each other. We're seeing that they're interconnected with each other. And it would be a process of a meditation session, of a contemplation session, to kind of put this together and then take it apart and put it back together again and look at it from all these different points of view would help us to understand the mind training, the Lojong, in terms of our bodhicitta. So I offer that, and maybe that's helpful. Maybe Geshe would comment on that, please.
4 measurable paths na karasegwe ko jambe ji hakuwe na dingen go chemaso tanda disungda lens ge kanda dodo de disung da khuri gi tanda di rumoch tindo de la lojong tsuje ma yo pa che ani dini 4 measurable paths de karina shiji pena ta jangning je ta ji ze sen da karina ji yi ji sare yidle karila ge na yi la ji sare wa o di yidi ani tanda the mind training kare la phan rugudu se kurang rumo da guji di petchen da guji dongji da guji jechini tindik tholen dodan chi jepaina ani ko lani taya la pinto yawa chi usares netan trichi wala pena 4 measurable path tinini pa lojong tsiji mala pa andin do lang din dilan do se tinida guji jepaina netan kharin da guji chepaine ko tipa laling ji care and which da gongji shu chewa yume ge tinda which mendo san kurang samo da which le song da
laso te pe abdo jo nge dan to cham sal kar sam de ge sena zambulin ge temo change de so ge temo cheya de ngara so juno penjo da ji le zenwa tan san da wa da ji na che tan san da man che da ne kan ran thab de ra da tinde ngara so mi de ti tange de til hu chewa ra ma to ye ngara so ji dungye la ji dongne che tan da ne ji nami da ji chingsang da ji phama da putu para la ji zewa la jinjin che tan o ji zewa la je che che ba yin tin na ne ji me se lab chen kan de yung ge me hun ro ge yan wa de song de gang ge kan de che ge me de ge to la demo de chap to ro che na sam sam da wo de sang de de tan da lens ge ra
so what brother Lens has come out with that matrix it sounds excellent. It's a very creative thinking and pieces that you have come up. This is really helpful to understand and to put into context. Having said that, I also thought of these things like when you watch Hollywood movie or most of the films, because it has mass appeal. But most of the films, most of the popular blockbusters, it's deal with bloodshed, violence, and sex, and all of those kind of things. But instead, sometimes I wonder if those films were formed or created with the themes of those trainees, like the 4 measurable path, or for all the mind trainees, like if they could act it out. And then those people who are watching it, then it will down onto them and gave them so much insight about the benefits and the help it will generate in people who are able to contemplate and who are able to practice them. So if movie directors are magnanimous enough to be able to act and make a film based on those things, so the audience will learn the most valuable lessons and which they can apply to their own lives as well.
Thank you. That's a wonderful suggestion. And I thought that maybe there could be a cell phone app that could be designed with that kind of thing in mind. So instead of playing games on our cell phones, we could be studying the Lojong together with bodhicitta or the 6 paramitas or something like that. So that would be a good opportunity for an application designer.
Exactly, wonderful, yeah. Kori songi de tanda kapa nalo lo want digo app da wo switch in ani Lojong da digo tola si pento e suto na kandi apo usares on korango min te sangu do ani gishila gonsu de pemsi apo was.
All right. Well, thank you all very, very much. Geshe La, especially, thank you very much. And Yangchen, thank you very much. And Dorje, thank you for your translations and everybody for participating in this. I think this has been really wonderful. And we have been having conversations with Geshe La and Dorje and Yangchen and making plans for a more permanent teaching sessions with Geshe La in the future. So if anybody has any ideas that you'd like to share with us, but we've got somewhat of a syllabus that we've put together, and to set up a program where we can do that, and maybe make another evening when we can do this, another special time that is dedicated for Geshe La, or we could use our Monday night 101 sessions for that. We've started our process of talking about the sutras, and frankly, I'd like to keep that intact and continue that, because I think that's been very useful too. I would like to see an additional night added when people could join Geshe. So that's something that's a work, thoughts in process. So if anybody has suggestions, we'd love to hear them.
Lance, do you think it would be okay if we did like a doodle poll in the WhatsApp group and get like the best evenings? So, because I know that's been a struggle, is trying to get the highest attendance by selecting the best evening for the most people who are interested for live attendance.
I think it's a fine idea. I think Thursday night, I'd be willing to use Thursday night if that's possible. You know, that would be really good. We've been doing Medicine Buddha practice, but maybe we could do that. Or Wednesday night or Tuesday nights would be other times that might be available. So we can see. And so we have to keep in mind that Geshe is likely to be in India some of the time. But we've also been thinking of a way that he would be staying in Eastern time zone for quite a while. So maybe that won't be a big issue. Yeah. But yes, if you could make up a questionnaire for that, that would be great.
So it would be 7 p.m. like this time zone right now, Eastern? Like
I think so, yes.
Okay, I can do that.
Okay. Well, we've come to the end of our session for tonight, so we should do our dedication. So if you've got your prayer book, and we could do the dedication on page 36, the dedication prayer by Lord Jigden Sumgun, the founder of the Drikung Kagyu lineage. And Yangchen, do you have this book? Is that what you were looking at before? Yeah. Oh, wonderful. Yeah, so it's all in English. I don't have the Tibetan translation for that, but it's a wonderful prayer. And if we could recite this together, would be very good. I think it's very suitable for this meeting. So everybody, please turn your microphones off so we don't bleed into each other, but recite this dedication prayer. Glorious, holy, venerable, precious kind root and lineage lamas, divine assembly of yidams and assemblies of Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Yogins, Yoginis, and Dakinis, dwelling in the 10 directions, please hear my prayer. May the virtues collected in the 3 times by myself and all sentient beings in samsara and nirvana, and the innate word of virtue, not result in the 8 worldly concerns, the 4 causes of samsara, or rebirth as a Shavaka or Pratyeka Buddha. May all mother sentient beings, especially those enemies who hate me and mine, obstructors who harm, misleading Maras, and the hordes of demons, experience happiness, be separated from suffering, and swiftly attain unsurpassed, perfect, complete, and precious Buddhahood. By the power of this vast root of virtue, may I benefit all beings through my body, speech, and mind. May the afflictions of desire, hatred, ignorance, arrogance, and jealousy not arise in my mind. May attachment to fame, reputation, wealth, honor, and concern for this life not arise for even a moment. May my mind stream be moistened by loving kindness, compassion, and bodhicitta, and through that, may I become a spiritual master with good qualities equal to the infinity of space. May I gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra in this very life. May the torment of suffering not arise even at the time of my death. May I not die with negative thoughts. May I not die confused by wrong view. May I not experience an untimely death. May I die joyfully and happily in the great luminosity of the mind as such and the pervading clarity of Dharmata. May I, in any case, gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra at the time of death or in the bardo. Om, Ah, Hum. Om, Ah, Hum. Om, Ah, Hum. May my body, speech, and mind become inseparable with the body, speech, and mind of all the enlightened ones for the benefit of all sentient beings. Thank you all very much. Tukshe, thank you, Geshe La. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, all friends.
Thank you. We will not be having a meeting next week. I'll be traveling.
Next Monday, we won't be.
Right.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, Geshe. Thank you, Dorje. Thank you, Lance.
Thank you for translations.
Thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you, Lance. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Geshe. Thank you, Dorje La, Yangshen La. Thank you.
I'm here.